Hi again guys, it's Dan here from Univibe Audio in Birmingham. Today I'm going to be showing you a little bit about how to get a sense of air, space and depth into your distorted guitar parts. When we talk about air in terms of how something sounds, we're usually referring to a level of polish or sheen in the higher frequencies, and that normally means instruments such as your cymbals on your drums and your vocals, where you're going to want a lot of that high frequency content maintained in the mix to give it that sense of realism and depth. However, this is also a technique that can be applied to other instruments lower down the frequency spectrum, such as distorted guitars. The reason why it can be problematic for those is because the more you crank the high end in your distorted guitar parts, the more unwanted stuff like fizz and hiss and other artifacts you're going to get, which you don't necessarily want in the mix. Typically, we could perhaps filter off the top end of the guitar to reduce a lot of that fizz and other stuff, but you'd also lose that sense of air which we want to get. So, how do we go about fixing this? Simply put, we can record our distorted guitar parts with a slightly darker tone than we perhaps want in the final mix. And that means that as well as reducing some of that fizz and hiss and other unwanted noise, we can also boost the top end to emphasise those air frequencies with an EQ later on, without making the overall tone too harsh. To show you the difference that this trick can make in a more practical context, I've borrowed my friend Marcus from Bovine, who's going to churn out a few guitar riffs for us. First of all, I'm going to record the parts with a moderately bright tone straight from the amp, and then I'm going to record the same thing again with a darker tone which we can brighten up later on in the mix. All the guitar parts for this demo are going to be recorded through Doris, our resident PV5150, straight into a Blackstar Series 1 cab with vintage 30 speakers. For mics, I'm using an SM57, slightly off axis on one of the cones, and I'm using a Perlman TM1 tube mic for the room. This is about 10 feet back away from the amp, and I've only chosen this because I just like the smoothness of the top end, and it boosts really nicely when we come to use the EQ later on. You can use whatever room mic you like. In each example, first of all I'm going to show you how the guitar sounds by itself, and then how it sounds in the context of a full mix. For the darker tone, I'm going to show you the original sound straight from the mics, and then how it sounds with the top end boost applied. For the boost itself, I'm going to be using the Marg EQ4 plugin, purely because I find its 40k airband is pretty much perfect for the job. It's even in the name. Okay, so hopefully now you can hear the difference that this technique can make. Personally, I think that both tones have their own merits and qualities about them, but now you can be the judge and you can decide on what's going to work best for your particular mix. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Dan from Univibe Audio. Please don't forget to subscribe and check us out at blog.univibeaudio.co.uk.